Good evening, everyone. I'll call this Committee of the Whole meeting to order at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, May 12th. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, we acknowledge the town of Edson is located on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral lands of the Nahineewak, Saulteaux, Siksika, Piikani, Kainai, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and the Otipemisiwak Métis Nations. We honor the knowledge of this land, the elders and youth which gather here, and our ancestors who have gathered here for centuries. We have an addition to the agenda, so can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended? I believe the motion will go up on the board here right away. There we are. Councillor Holden.
I motion that the agenda for the May 12th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting be adopted with the addition of item G, period 1, Town Manager Update, ATA, IA, Section 29, Advice from Officials.
Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor? That motion is carried. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the Committee of the Whole meeting on the 28th of April, 2026? Councillor Wilson-Lair.
I move that the minutes of the April 28th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting be adopted as presented.
Any questions, comments, errors, omissions from those minutes? All those in favor? That motion is carried. We'll move on to presentations and delegations. We have a presentation tonight from the Edson Lions Club. If I could ask Mike Johnson, Principal of Solis Architecture, if you'd like to come forward and present on behalf of the Edson Lions Clubs.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. If you could just press on your mic there, if you just hit the button, there you go. You're all set, and I'll turn it over to you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. We look forward to this short presentation to give you an update of an ask that we're preparing for. So I'm sure you've all gone through the document, but I'd just like to briefly run through it before we get into it. So Edson Lion Club Campground, we all know where it's located, right at the beginning of the east side of town. And there is a real need to improve the campgrounds. The Edson's Lion Clubs have been working and managing this property for quite some time, and it's due for an update. The grand plan is to accommodate larger RV style campgrounds in this area over here. And then we did an entire master plan for the redo of this entire section. So the team was put together. Solis Architecture is architectural and landscape plus project management. Larson Engineering dealing with electrical upgrades required, and Zach Consulting, who did the civil work with all the grading and underground services required. So a full professional team put together for this project. And we've got a schedule in through here talking about when it started, as well as all the way when we want to complete the phases. The highlighted area in through here, we would like to start construction May 2026, which would start with the removal of some of the larger trees and prep work for the site. So this here is the master plan. As we can see, we have rebuilt or redid the site here. This is basically phase 2. And then in through here, we have phase 1, which we're planning on doing. And these areas are for the drive-through. So one would come in through the site, pass through and around, and then they would park in through here or go up and then park in through here. And then they would actually be able to escape straight through. So a really very clean and efficient system. We're reducing the total number of sites on the property so we can accommodate the larger style RVs, which really want to camp in more of an urban setting, but also want the facilities, which include water, sanitary, and power, so they can all hook up. Those services just aren't fully there. There's power, which isn't quite current, and there's no water. And sanitary, there's a single sanitary dump. So each one of these would have their own sanitary dumps set up, which would really improve the system into a whole. What we've done is we've looked at this as a phasing because we understand the budgetary constraints associated with the Lions Club. So we have a phase one, which walks right in through here. And then phase two is this green area up in this top area. And then phase three is in through here. In discussion with the development officers and planning, they indicated that we can do the underground services for phase one and phase two. And we broke phase one and phase two down because there's a line that goes right across here. And that there is part of a required road closure, because before people would park their cars over here so they can walk the bridge and to get onto the trail. Now that that bridge is gone, there's no need for the parking there. But to accommodate this, we need to do a road closure application. The road closure application takes approximately about a year because there's consultation with council and the town. But we can do all the underground work, which will actually save us money because we want to do all the underground work right away. So that would be the sanitary, the water, and the electrical. Once we get above ground, then we can say, okay, we cap off these two sites in through here in phase two, we finish off phase one, and then once the road closure is done, we then just come back and then finish off phase two. Phase three would be left until additional funds are gathered to redo it. But we wanted to do the master plan set up so we could make sure that we had the infrastructure in place for all underground services to ensure that we weren't redoing anything at a later date. And that's why we anticipated the master plan. So moving in through here, site services, pretty straightforward. The main line comes in through here and it would be connecting in through there, and then water and sanitary would be coming down the main road and then connecting into each one of these services. We put in a water meter vault in the ground, so it's up at the top, and tied everything based upon the grades into the sanitary main at the bottom. So we try to do this as efficiently and effectively as possible. And so to make this more advanced, this right here is the power pedestal, which actually has the power and the water in the same compartment, just split up on either side. And then here is the sanitary sort of foot pedal that's connected into sort of the pipe that goes into the ground. This will modernize the site and make it really attractive for anybody coming to the site. We also did the landscaping in through here, and this is one of the parts that I'm actually really happy about, is that we created landscape pockets in between each of the sites. And based upon the slope going down, what we did is we created swales so that we could actually capture the water runoff, so we wouldn't actually need trailing ponds at the bottom to capture, and it will also maintain the water on the site. And we can see that when we go into our section in through here, landscape area coming across, and it slopes down this one way, and then we build sort of a little almost ditch, which is the swale, and then build up the pond. So then water can actually infiltrate into the ground rather than running right across, letting it soak into the ground, allowing better plant development with inside the site. And then we increased the number of larger trees and then staggered it. So we've got low brushes, we've got mid-rise and fast-growing trees with the trembling aspens, and birch, and then we've got the tamaracks, which will actually grow pretty large. In and around sort of the campsites or the picnic bench itself, we created more of a density with some moonglow junipers and some firs right at the edge. And then we created a belt down at the bottom of raspberries, because one of the things that I always loved with camping is actually going out and sort of wild foraging. If we can create an atmosphere where people actually want to come here and as a destination, this is one way to do it. It also really attracts people to the town of Edson, allowing people to actually use this as a stopping ground and tour everywhere around. So boost the tourism in through here by providing sort of a really bright and vibrant sort of setup right at the start of the town. So this comes into this where we are right now. We've just closed the tender today on the project for civil and electrical scopes. And we've got current budget through grants totaling $320,000. Based upon our initial estimates coming back that we went through GCs and other contractors prior to bid, was that we had grading at $351,000, water and sanitary at $220,000, electrical at $167,000, and landscaping at $65,000, which puts our total phasing at $803,000. Now, what we're asking for as part of this development, because the town actually owns the land that the Edson's Lion Clubs operates, is the services and the upgrade of the said services. So that would be the electrical, sanitary, and water to the site. This is a benefit because you guys are improving the infrastructure on this site that you guys own. It's just managed by the Lions Club. We would take the grading because we think that we can actually get additional funding and support and donations from various construction companies for donations of rock, gravel, and those compartments. The hard part is actually the skilled components, which is the water and sanitary, which requires skilled labor, piping, and electrical. Those components are really sort of fixed within those fees, and that's where we would like the town of Edson's support to help fund it, so that we can actually get above the $320,000, which is our current funds, and get closer to that 803 in total. So what we have at the bottom is an ask of $452,000. Now, we know that's quite substantial in regards to budget and constraints, but we're willing to look at that, work with you on that exact number of like what can you provide, so then we can then look at if we have to phase the development further from phase 1 and phase 2, or can we actually get the underground services completed right away, and then we can really work at that landscaping and donations of time and materials for grading and components. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Do we have any questions from members of council? Councillor Holden?
Through the deputy mayor to our presenter, I'm not sure if this question you could answer, but how many sites are being lost when they do this proposed renovation? And what would the drop in revenues from those sites be annually?
So we would be losing about, I think it's 4 sites, correct, Erden?
Technically, it would have been 8 because it used to be back to back.
So we'd be losing 8 sites in total. The revenue from the new sites would be quite a bit higher because the cost of the serviced sites would be much greater. I'm not exactly sure of the exact dollar figure of what the loss of revenue is. I believe that based on discussions with the Lions Club is that we would actually increase revenue because the sites are much more desirable and would have full capacity on those sites rather than partial capacity.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson-Lear.
Through the Deputy Mayor to our presenter, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm kind of just going to tag on to Councillor Holden's question a little bit. My question was just in relation to the scale of this renovation. Is the club planning a longer season? I know right now, from what I could find, it runs from May to September. Is there any plans that council should know about or administration is aware of, maybe that you're extending that season, or are you thinking of maybe, and I don't know if they did this in the past, but people are there year round. Is that
So
something?
when we have the full service sites, it means that people can stay there longer. The season can be extended if the Lions Club determines and if there's actually a lot of demand for that. So the quick answer is yes, that it can be extended. The extent of the extension hasn't been determined yet, but it can be because we have full service sites and people aren't in tents.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through the Deputy Mayor to Mr. Johnson, thank you for your presentation. I said this before about a year and a half ago when the Lions Club did come. I'm always supportive of enhancing facilities in our community and seeing service groups get on board to do that. And this looks like a very well thought out plan of enhancing the Lions Club Park. Just focusing on the ask of about 452,000, two questions. The first question is, does this ask, or the budgeted amount, I guess of 803,000, do you have contingencies built into that? Or is that a rough estimate of just the contracting costs?
So that is the rough estimate of the contracting cost. It doesn't include the professional services of the architectural and engineering that came in for it. Now, I'm pleasantly surprised that the tender prices have come in below what we anticipated, and thus I would believe that the 452 ask would account for any contingencies that would be required, and that we would not be over that budget.
Okay, thank you. Just a follow-up, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor. So when your group, the Lions Club, was here about a year and a half ago, and I just had to watch the video, it was about January of 2025 they were here. They said they were going to apply for a CFEP grant, and they had asked us for a letter of support, and council provided that letter of support. They were asking for 125,000. I see they got 100,000. Within the ask of the letter of support, they said that the Lion Club said they were going to complement their side, the matching grant, with fundraising or funds of their own. How is the fundraising going, or is that, when you say fundraising, is that the in-kind donations of the work that you're getting done?
I can't fully answer that one. That needs to be answered by probably Ann and Arden in regards to where the fundraising is. We have developed options for fundraising for plaques and donations for benches and tables and other components. Where the total is from that, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it there and perhaps get more information from the Lions Club through our admin. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Schramm.
Yeah, through the chair to our presenters, thanks for the presentation. I know Lions Club have talked for a long time about doing some upgrades to that park, and it's good to see something finally coming forward as a new councillor in that. I guess the question is, when I look at your plan that you've presented, and it really kind of focuses on the area west of the ravine, is there any long-range plans for the whole site which would address the east side of that ravine as well? Because if we're going to look at a full concept plan of the whole park, we should know if there's going to be an additional phases coming down the line as well, which includes that eastern side of that ravine.
So our scope of work was specifically for the east side closest to the Lions Club because it was in desperate need. And it was sort of the best location where we could improve the sites and incorporate larger RV sites. The sites on the other side of the creek were understood to be actually in relatively good condition and well treed and in no real need of updating as part of it. It was really the portion that was on the east side that really needed the updating because those back-to-back sites were very close together. There was no spacing between them, no trees. It was kind of like you were baking in a parking lot while camping, while the other side actually had a lot of trees and support and backdrop. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. My question would be, should we expect an additional ask to come forward when we move to phase 2 and phase 3? I see the numbers for phase 1, but I know you have it phased in 3 phases. Is there an ask coming down the road for
So I
additional
believe-
funds?
I believe phase 1 and phase 2 would be totally, completely covered underneath this scope of work. Because the way that phase 1 and phase 2 works is basically all underground services are actually done together, and it's only a portion of the above ground work that is tied off into phase 2 just based upon the rezoning application requirements. Phase 3, which would be the portion directly in behind, there would be additional funds required for that, whether that whether we can complete that on our own or if we need additional funds, that's yet to be determined. The benefit associated, and one of the reasons why the costs are so high for phase 1 and phase 2 is because the infrastructure is basically 75 to 80% done because we're tying in. Once we complete the phase 1 and phase 2, then what we're doing is really just stubbing out from the new connections. So the amount or the cost associated with that renovation will be substantially less. And it also depends upon when that renovation occurs, whether we say, okay, we did phase 1 and phase 2 and that turned out fantastic, we're getting additional funds, we're doing well, we're gonna take this and put in phase 3 in 2 years. Just give that enough time to set up and then we can do that. Or maybe it's pushed out for 5 years because we really want to see what comes out of that. But we have the master plan, and that master plan was really important to divide up and understand the true costs of where it was going to be and how it can be phased really effectively without really burdening additional costs and pushing those costs down the road.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from council? I'll thank you again for your presentation. Seeing no other questions or comments, no decision will be made tonight. It'll be brought forward at a future council meeting. But again, thank you so much for your detailed presentation. We really appreciate all the supporters that you have here this evening. You can stay if you'd like. If you'd like to go and enjoy the rest of the sunny evening, we understand. If you don't want to stay for the rest of the evening, thanks again.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, we have no bylaws and policies. We have one business item. We have our monthly update on the YC Multiplex project from Mrs. Vicki Bird, our recreation manager. This is always one of the really nice presentations that we get because we get to see the process in real time.
Good night.
Good night, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Fogarty, and good evening, Council. I'm here to do the update, so here we go. So we're still in phase 2 of the construction for the YC Multiplex project. Some current developments since my last update last month. The structural work has been completed for the gymnasium and the mechanical room. That's that pool mechanical room in the basement. The roof installation is underway in key areas throughout kind of both sections of the site. And the basement preparation has been complete. Mechanical and electrical work still continues throughout the entire site. The competition pool construction has been advancing with ongoing concrete work. Interior wall construction has been progressing in the aquatics building, and upper roof edge construction is underway on the aquatics building. Major structural wall has been completed in the arena to support the seating installation. So we saw pictures of that kind of happening last month, and then we'll see it completed this month in the pictures that are to follow in the presentation. The ice plant upgrades have begun and been progressing since last month, including the removal of old equipment and installation of new systems. The electrical work has been ongoing within the existing building. That's that substantial work happening in the memorial arena. And then the interior off-season work has been initiated to minimize the impacts into facility operations during the ice season. So if you ever want to come take a visit, the interior of our existing lobby, has changed substantially, just temporarily, just to section off the work for the piping to go through the existing lobby. So you'll see some temporary walls have gone up within the lobby there just to protect that work area. There still is a pathway to access the Centennial Arena and also the hospitality room there, and also to maintain that fire exiting that's required for our building to operate. Now let's get into the fun stuff, the pictures. So here, actually I believe it was our superintendent or one of our foremans went up on their work trailers to get this kind of great view of the aquatics building at a height. So this is taken from the northwest corner of the aquatics building. So it's we talked about that roof edge on the top of the building there, the steel structure for the wall paneling, and then also that cement wall on the bottom of of the building there we've spoken about. And in the background, you can kind of see that stair core that we've spoken a lot about, but we'll get a better look at that in future pictures. And then to the right here, we have the competition pool excavation and the progress there. There has been even more progress since this photo has been taken, as these photos are a few weeks old, but you see the pool basin being formed, the concrete walls there as well. And then on the left-hand side, this is the pool mechanical room, which looks a lot different from the last time we saw it. So the prep work is there, and then they can start putting in some of the systems. And I thought this was a really great photo to show you. This is the gymnasium, and it's from a point of view that I don't think I've brought to this meeting before. This is the east side, and you can kind of see where those windows are slotted. So those vertical, kind of slender windows, those will be to the walking track. So they'll add that nice light going through onto the walking track there. Just thought it was a kind of a great view from looking at the conceptual video that we've done. To see it coming to life is really neat. And then on the left here, there's that elevator we haven't seen in a little bit that we spoke a lot about at the beginning. So that's been completed, and then more work on that steel structure. You see the roof on the gymnasium as well. And then this gives you another look of the inside view of the gymnasium from the south. And there's that stair core that I've spoken about as well. And then to the left in the gymnasium photo, that's that locker room that services both the aquatics and the gymnasium. And then underneath that is that pool mechanical. Oh, and then something to mention, I think we spoke about last month, above that locker room that's where that HVAC and another mechanical room is. And then so this is a bit of the ice plant work that's been done. We have some new piping that's going through and some new systems being added. And then on the right-hand side here, this is all of the electrical, the new electrical coming into our building, which is very exciting. And then this will be a new space for our new electrical room as well within our existing Olympia room. Then we move over to the arena. So this is the new arena. The photo on the left is the view from the south. So that's that ice melt pit that we've talked about. And as the weather's gotten better, we're getting better pictures with better views. So I thought it would be great to bring it in as well to see the difference. And then on the right-hand side, that's that cement work for the arena seating that I spoke about. So that's been completed. And then this next picture I thought was a great representation of, and I think I'll continue to bring this view as we construct further, is the new being attached to the existing. So it's kind of a cool view of what that's going to look like. And also keeping in mind that in the background there, that's our existing pool. That won't be there anymore, right? So that's where those double doors in this hallway will lead us to the new lobby. And then we move on to our project status, including budget and schedule. The procurement status, still again, most major trade packages have been awarded. The procurement has not had any impact to the schedule. Any procurement variances are being managed within the design contingency, and there's been no budget increase. No budget increase is being requested from the project team at this stage. So that's always nice to say at these meetings. I did add a new section, and that's the schedule. So again, as stated at our last update, the project overall is trending 3 to 4 weeks behind currently, but the project team will still continue to identify any opportunities to recover the lost time where possible. On the right-hand side, we have our scope of the project along with the budget allotments, and there's no change in that regard. And then our risks and mitigation. We're still working through these 4 major risks, and they're still there, and we're working through them as a project team. There's been no change in this regard either. And that is my update for this month. I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from members of council? Seeing none, I will once again thank you for your presentation. And I'll thank you also on behalf of our partners in Yellowhead County, because this is so exciting, not just for our residents, but Yellowhead County residents as well, who have partnered with us on this project, of course. And so, as I usually do, I'll ask you to pass on our thanks from Edson Council and Yellowhead County Council for the employees and you and all that you have to work through as this project kind of carries on and moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night. All right. We'll move on. We have an in-camera session. Can I get a motion? It should pop up on the board here to move in camera. There we go. Councillor Taylor.
I move that the meeting move into a closed session pursuant to Section 29 of the Access to Information Act.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor? That motion is carried.